Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so getting out the house. Probably should have ate before I left since I'm kind of hungry, but I made sure I got up out of there just the same. It was cold in the room. You know how the story goes with this particular room. It's hard to gauge how hot or cold it is outside based on how freezing it is in that room. You find yourself sitting underneath the covers trying to curl up, getting warm. You don't realize it's like 70 degrees, 71 degrees outside. All you need to do is get up and get out the house and warm up. So I took care of what I need to take care of for this month's, this week's room. Just paid that off and got myself some quarters for the next laundry, so I ain't got to think about that later on. And now I'm just leaving the house. Don't quite have a destination as always. You know how I am. Just getting out and gonna try to defeat the war against bad food today, since I am getting hungry leaving the house. Try to not to buy nothing out here, but yeah man, decided to rep today since it's light cold. It ain't cold at all, but it could get cold at some point, so I figured I rep the Lakers right now and put myself in a position to be warm at the same time. So yeah man, feel good. I feel all right. I woke up this morning excuse me, not feeling 100% myself. Had not so positive vibes on my mind, but I prayed all that off, man. I felt really good after that. And from there, as soon as I got up, I ended up finding myself reading the Bible 3 or 4 times more than I normally do. Usually I read like 1 chapter, but I think I read like 6 or 7 chapters of Psalms this morning. Don't know why. No idea, man. I just felt organic to me. It felt like that was just the mood I was in, so I read it. Felt pretty good about that. Got in the shower, said some prayers like I always do, ate some breakfast, and it seems like the more I eat my oatmeal in the morning, the less filling it makes me from day to day. It's like my stomach's expanding to the oatmeal. That's how I felt yesterday eating at the fajitas. I was telling y'all, like, the first time I bought that meal, I could only eat half of it. Yesterday, I ate the whole thing, but did not eat another meal after that for the rest of the night. So try to balance that out, but it just feels like I eat more. I think it's because of the muscle that I'm putting on. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I just think that ultimately, when you start to really push and lift like I've been lifting, you really start feeling like you could eat more, I guess. I don't know. It's the opposite when you jog. If you jog a lot, your stomach's gonna shrink. Your appetite disappears. You can't eat as much. But putting on muscle, I guess, requires you to, you know, eat more, or maybe you burn more. I have no idea the science behind that, to be honest with you, but I'm eating a lot more, man. Eating a whole lot more than I used to. And I guess that's a good thing, so long as I'm not eating poorly. So like I said, I'm gonna try to win this war against bad food today, and see if I can get back home without having eaten anything and eat my regular stuff. But you know, this is a nice little Monday, man. I just felt very spiritual this morning, prayerful. You know, I think that I woke up this morning feeling attacked by the same old energy that had been bothering me for the last couple of weeks, and I just understood that I have different ways of approaching that now. And it's one of those things where it's like you gotta revamp your energy. If you're being attacked, that means somebody is likely going to be negative, have a negative vibe about the energy that you take from that attack. You know, and you go out and take it to somebody else and you start snapping at them, or, you know what I mean? It's our responsibility before we even interact with anybody to try to, before we even get out of bed, address it. And understand that when you do address it, it's not going to come when you address it. Like, Lord, would you make my day better, make me feel better? Don't expect to immediately feel better. Expect to look up and feel better. It's one of those type of things. And that's what I've come to understand. What ends up happening is, a lot of times for myself, is I'm praying the Lord to get bad vibes off of me, but I'm still thinking about those bad vibes, and I'm saying, man, it ain't working. God's not doing, it's not working. You're looking for it to be instantaneous when that's not exactly how that operates at all. But you will look up by the end of the hour or 2 hours later and won't have the same thoughts or vibes about you. and that will be the answer to your prayer. So it's all about his timing. And I've come to respect that, having done this several times, waking up feeling that way and doing it the wrong way, and then carrying those bad vibes and not allowing the Lord in. You gotta let him in. And it ain't the easiest thing in the world, especially when you're just getting started and you got bad thoughts on your mind and you're used to handle them in a certain way. It ain't easy to feel grateful when you have hurt on your heart or whatever, but when you put forth the understanding that it ain't instantaneous, but it is imminent, it's coming, you just do what you gotta do. Let it be what it's gonna be and move on from it. Move on from that feeling. Go about your day. For me, it was turning on some Laker content. They were talking about the Lakers this morning. And by the time that video was over, I didn't even think none of those thoughts. Obviously, nothing had changed. But what had changed was the implant of prayer into my heart to make me feel better. Hey, buddy, what's up? What's up? Hey. So it's one of those situations where you feel a lot better when you allow yourself to. And it takes sometimes turning away from the idea that it can happen overnight or instantaneously, that ultimately puts you in that position to understand that it can, it can be better. Just what can also be the case is you standing in the way of it being better by not believing it will be better in God's timing, especially when the problem isn't actually a problem. It's just a wake up with a bad vibe. Maybe you woke up with off a bad dream. And the problems are still your problems. I got the same problems I've had for the last 3 months in different areas. But I don't ever feel constantly bad or constantly good or constantly anything. It's always changes and ebbs and flows. And so what the discipline is to learn how to let God in so he can make those ebbs flow in the direction that you want them to. That's what it's about. It's not about him necessarily changing anything. Maybe he's not done with me in these positions. Maybe he's not done with me feeling the need to lean on him to fix this particular set of circumstances. Maybe he needs me to continue to go through this for a little bit. But that doesn't necessarily mean I need to be angry about my life as I do, or that I have to live in denial in order for me to be able to cope with things, or try to cut off my feelings in order for me to cope. It's more so about working in this practice so that you can allow him to handle that for you. So you can feel whatever you're going to feel, and then from there, he will help you feel better from within those feelings. And so that's what it is, man. Letting God in, asking him to fix these problems on his time, and then letting him work on his time. And it ain't got to be overnight. It ain't got to be right away. It ain't got to be in the moment I'm asking. Of course, I'm still going to feel the way I'm feeling while the sentence is coming out of my mouth. And as we're in that moment, we can either choose to believe that something's not working as we do it, or let it dissolve it like a tablet. Let it go into your system and let it do what it does. And that's how we got to approach these prayers that we ask to make our feelings better, make our emotions or whatever align or what have you. So that's what it is. I woke up this morning saying, Lord, with the intentions of how I'm feeling, I don't want to complain. I feel what I feel, and I also ask that you come in and help me figure it out. And as a result, he gave me a little more Bible verses. He put it in my heart to pray a little differently, a different prayer or two. Throughout the shower, I was praying a little different, harder, that kind of thing. And it just, from within what it is the word was giving me, was solutions for how to feel better in certain things that I was reading. The devotional that I read this morning kind of spoke to letting God in and allowing him to make you feel better when you're feeling bad. So it was not only the word that was supposed to make me feel better by way of it just being something that's read, but then when you start reading, you start understanding that sometimes what's in what you're reading is catered for what it is you're going through. And so that's kind of what it was for me as well. So yeah, man, just want to let people know how to feel better, I guess, how to get yourself to a space where you feel better. And then from there, hopefully through what it is I've learned, the feelings that I went through that were not so good can kind of been turned into something that's positive. Something that God can work with rather than the enemy finding a way to work with those things. and ultimately make me worse, or make it so that I'm not praying the prayers I need to be praying for the betterment of others. You know, when you start thinking about people and how they didn't do what for you, not checking yourself, realizing that it's not their responsibility to do for you, you can psych yourself out of praying prayers that are for the betterment of their week, their day. And while most of us do not care about nobody else who ain't doing for us because we're taught that way, and through our selfishness, we are taught to be that way, what you end up finding out is a lot of times it's meant for you to do that. It's meant for you to feel bad so that you can feel as if you were a victim, and then from there won't do for them what would otherwise be unselfish within you. You only get worse. Like, that's what it was for me, I think, this morning. Waking up being unhappy, but it's like, wait a minute, what energy are you putting out toward the person that you otherwise want to be, make you happy? You got bad vibes for them. Why? Because they didn't do for you what you wanted done for you. But what are you willing to do for them? And if the answer is nothing unless they're doing for you, then what's to keep them from feeling the same way? And that's why you don't have what you need from them. At some point in time, you got to break that cycle. And a lot of us don't have the strength to break that cycle. The one thing that the Lord has been trying to tell me for the past 3 weeks is to care more for strength than you do for the easing of the circumstances. It's strength. Strength is what he wanted me to keep on asking for more of. Have a desire for strength. Mental fortitude, physical strength within my stem and how I'm operating. Resistance to the enemy's temptations and different strengths of that nature. That's what he's been telling me to ask for. That's what he's been more or less telling me is what's meant for me to be trying to work on. Not necessarily things getting easier or people bending so that the threshold of strength from which I already have is enough. You know what I mean? If everybody do what I want them to do, if everybody lines up the way they're supposed to line up so that I can feel good, there's no need for me to ask for more strength because the strength I have is enough. Essentially what the Lord is saying is that's the problem. I don't want the strength that you have to be enough. I want you to get stronger. I want you to lean on me more, and I want you to continue to be intent on being consistent in the various areas that you need to be strong in. Because things may not get easier. Or things may get easier, and then without asking for more strength, you become more weak within them getting easier. Which is just as much of a problem when you consider that a problem could be right around the corner after that. You know, and we talked a lot about the message of not thinking that your spirit got it all together at any given moment, because the enemy's always trying to attack your weaknesses, and if you don't think you have any weaknesses, he's definitely going to be able to get to you that way. And the Lord didn't make us perfect, so don't think just because you know the Lord that you have overcome certain problems that were in place before you knew him. He gave me that dream telling me I hadn't overcome some of them demons that I had. You know, that's important. There's a lot of times we think that we're a finished product and we don't want to ask for strength anymore. And then we don't want to have to work on what it takes to keep ourselves away from certain things that we need to stay away from, because we think that whatever we do after that, because we know God now, because we have faith now, we don't have to do nothing because he's going to carry us. But part of the carrying is giving you the strength necessary for when you may not feel like you're being carried. For when you do have to sit in a moment and wait for something to dissolve after you've asked for it. And in that moment, you got to be able to get from where you're at to when it starts working. And that type of strength is something to keep working on. You can't just say, okay, I got enough of everything. God's in my life, and now I don't need to work on me as a character, as a person, because there's still some things that you need to work on because of the environment you're in. Even if you are a great spirit, even if you do have everything under control, there's still things moving around you that will require you to shift and adjust with those. You know, and sometimes we think the very thing that we're asking for is what's best for us. But if you don't ask for the requisite amount of strength for what's going to make you weaker, like things getting better, or you getting everything you ever hoped for, or somebody finally just doing what it is you want them to do, those type of things can ultimately put you in a position to not be ready for what's coming around the corner after that. And we need to be wise enough to know something is coming around the corner. It may be great, but our definition of great may not necessarily come with the right stuff. As we define it as great, it may not come with the strength necessary to help you get through that next tragedy. It may not come with the type of vibes that ultimately are going to make it so that you can be your best self in the presence of others, or whatever the case may be. Somebody dropped $1 billion on my forehead right now. God willing, it wouldn't come in the form of a heavy thing, but just a check. If a check just flew down from nowhere, written to me, I could take that as the biggest blessing in the world. And it may very well be. But what it may also be is something that makes me extremely weak, extremely out of touch for what it is the Lord and truly wants me to have. Like to be in touch and understand certain people who don't have. And with that comes an understanding that maybe I don't need all of that, or maybe it's not best for me to have all of that right now. It come at the wrong time, I get it at the wrong way. Now I'm worse for it, even if it's the greatest thing. Now I may not care nothing about that because in my selfishness, I'm doing this, that, and the third. I'm happy about what I'm getting. But the reality is you need to be respecting that what you are is going to affect somebody else. And if something makes you worse, regardless of how you feel about it, it's going to affect them and make them worse. And then so on and so forth. Now they're responsible for somebody else. Now you are a direct deterrent to the blessing that you should be based on something great that came into your life that you defined as great, but didn't make you better. And so that's one of those situations where it's like, yeah, we don't care nothing about that. We, within our selfishness and within our willingness to take from the universe, don't care nothing about that. Give me my $1 billion. And in the society we're in, particularly when it comes to money, capitalism, although this is just an example, it's still something to be said. Hell yeah, we're not going to be taught to wonder if it's best for us to have this amount. Of course, we need to get every coin we can get. It's the world we're in. That's what's God out here. It's the money. But the reality is it's not. It's not. When you consider all the people who've gotten all the money in the world and proceeded to die because they couldn't stop buying stuff that killed them, like drugs, or get themselves in situations where they can afford to do this, like, or that, bribe people and put themselves in positions to ultimately be in prison for just because they had money and didn't know to do right with it. It didn't make them stronger. It didn't make them more wealthy of the spirit. It made them broke of the spirit. Yeah, they had money, but that's all they had. It made them a worse person. Yeah, they had money, but when they got that money, they ended up welcoming the wrong people into their lives, or their family ended up turning on them, or whatever the case may be. People want to target them because they get it. I didn't heard of and have known of people who inherited a lot of money and were killed for that money. Was it a blessing that they inherited that money? Apparently not. But you don't know that if you're just sitting up here in the capitalistic world. I ain't going to tell you that. That's not for them to even know. That money may be a blessing for everybody but them. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like I ain't asking for nothing. I don't know what comes with what. All I know is I need to be asking for strength so that whatever makes me better can be welcomed. Whatever makes me worse can be pushed away, regardless of what specifics come my way. Things, people, coming and going. All of that needs to be worked into the understanding that there's a requisite amount of strength that can make forth a better Brandon within me. If I'm going to move in a direction for which I get everything I want, it may make me weak. If I stay away from certain things and I don't get what it is I want, it can make me unhappy. These are things you need strength for. You need strength for all of that. Maybe you get the girl of your dreams. Now you start getting comfortable because she do everything perfect. Now you stop thinking you need to work on your relationship because she don't seem to sway in any direction but toward you no matter what you do. Now that from which is in you that takes advantage of that may take that as a signness of weakness. How many times have you said, don't take my kindness for weakness? Well, the very essence of not asking for strength when someone comes around you that you don't necessarily have to do anything for can provoke within you the desire to take their kindness for weakness. And while that may work with that personality, you take that somewhere else and suddenly you've done the wrong thing with the wrong person, bring about the wrong consequence. Should you have not asked for strength in the presence of someone who otherwise makes you feel like you don't have to work hard around them? For the essence of what makes you better should be worked toward, regardless of what it is it looks like or how it comes or doesn't. Should it not? And so these are things that we consider. I may get everything I've ever wanted, and it may make me weaker than I've ever been. I may never get anything I ever want again. And it may make me more unhappy than I've ever lived to be. What I need to be able to do is survive and provide the best energy for the people I'm affecting with my energy. To have the best attitude about myself as I walk amongst the earth, regardless of what's coming with what, because I don't know what comes with what. I get everything I want, and suddenly I'm unhappy. Why? Because it didn't come with anything good. You know what I mean? So it's like we just got to ask for strength. That strength is most important. Not just getting what you want or all of that, but sometimes you don't know what you want. You ever heard, be careful what you wish for? Sometimes the very thing you think you want could be the thing that leads you straight to the places you definitely do not want to be. Leads you into becoming somebody in the mirror you definitely don't want to see. It ain't always as simple as I get what I want. Sometimes the wants you have are no good for you. That's why I always speak on the understanding that I need to be of better wants. To want better things. Not to say that I know what they are, because I never could know what comes with what. But to ask the Lord to be willing to provide me the strength that'll make me best for whatever it is that's coming or going. To make it so that I want the right things, not necessarily specifically, but to welcome him in the form of strength to provide me what's best with any entity so that I can have a balanced energy regardless of what's coming or what's leaving. You won't be balanced. Maybe somebody has something bad to say about you. Maybe they're jealous about you now that you got everything you wanted. Maybe they want what you have. Now you gotta be able to manage that. How you manage that, I don't have any idea. And that's where the strength is supposed to come from. For the fact that I cannot manage that and have to live with the fact that I can't. And all of the different variables of life. Or however that goes. If I need to be able to have stronger energy than them to be able to override their evil so that I can remain civil in the presence of other people who are watching me and this person go about, that requires strength. Biggie told me more money, more problems. And so if I'm to receive more money and the problems are coming, I need the strength to come with it. Poverty provides a great deal of stress and uncertainty. So if I'm going to be in poverty, I need to be able to strive toward the strength necessary to deal with that so I can pull myself out of this or live with it if I have to. These are things that all require strength. All. And so that's what the Holy Spirit's been trying to put into me and drill into my spirit over the last couple of weeks as I pray for various things that make my life easier. Could you make it so that this person reaches out to me more so I don't have to live as sad without them? Can you make it so that I have a better living circumstance? Can you make it so that I don't have to do this or that, so that I don't have to do this or that? It's a bunch of stuff that's supposed to make me easier, make my life easier. But my life ain't the only life around. Me asking for the Lord to make my life easier doesn't allow me the strength to teach you this. The lesson to teach you this, for which you probably need. So while I'm sitting up here asking him to make what it is I want to come about, how about I ask for the requisite amount of strength to balance it all out, so that if I get what I want, I'm balanced. If I don't get what I want, I'm balanced. There's strength there. I got that, man. I don't need none of that. And then when he gives me everything I want, I'm like, well, Lord, watch my back. Because now I know I need the strength to be able to make sure I don't take anybody's kindness for weakness, that I can fend off any negative energy that otherwise comes about for this space of being comfortable, so that I can do everything I need to do within this space, so that I can stay as balanced as I need to within this comfort, etc. It's infinite. It's infinite. There's never a reason not to ask for more strength. There's never a reason not to see the need to pray for strength. And I go through these difficulties, you know what I found? That the strength that I've gained is enough to get me by. For all the different times I walked down the street when I didn't know where I was going to be living, how many times I was walking down the street asking the Lord to help me through this situation, not knowing if I was going to have the money. Maybe my family would be willing to give it to me. Maybe I didn't have the strength in mind to try to ask them for it at that time. It'll make me better so that I can communicate better with people who need me. Maybe I'm living with the fact that I don't even know how to ask the Lord to make things better because I think I deserve this based on how I've treated other people. It's strength needed to be able to cope with what it is that you can't wrap your mind around. My mother was diagnosed with cancer, I needed the strength to be able to do that, to deal with that. And we watched her go through that process. She needed the strength from which to survive it, only to come around and have to go through the worst of it before it was time for her to leave the earth. It was never no time for her not to need strength. There was never no time for her son not to need strength. Everything that happened after she passed away required strength in abundance, strength in multiple ways, strength in multiple areas and multiple facets of my being, strength for the people around me and for the multiple facets of their being, and an infinite nature of strength that would otherwise be required just to get through this life. Some of us ain't gonna be able to get through the day or the night without the strength that we're asking for, so we might as well just ask for it regardless if you know it or not. Some of us think the strength we have is enough, and I'm hopeful that I've been able to convince you that it can be. I'm not going to poo-poo the strength that's in you. Maybe you're the strongest person in the world, but there's going to be things that try to test that, push you away from what otherwise makes you strong, and then from there put you in a position to be vulnerable, for which strength will still be needed. Ask for it then when you pray. I don't think there's ever a prayer going forward that I need to ask him for anything other than strength to deal. And to not be afraid to ask for specifics that'll make me what I think will be happy, but to know that what comes with it may not make me happy. Ask for gifts of a divine nature of God's choosing, but even in that I have to live without certain things, and if I don't have the strength to be patient, as we've already said in a different way, then I might not make it to see the day where it does come around. The strength to be able to take what the Lord gives me with gratitude. You know how much strength that takes for a person that's not used to not having what they want? If you're a spoiled person or a person born with a silver spoon, you need strength to be able to live strong enough to not be worse for it. To be able to live without something if for some reason you lose it at all. To be able to live with the fact that maybe somebody just fumbles the bag in your family and now y'all go from this amount to that amount, and you got to be able to make your own amount. You got to be able to survive your own life, regardless of what it is that's coming your way, and you've never lived a day in your life without having what you need. When you look over at what's going on in Gaza and the stuff that they're going through, you think they woke up in the morning right before all this happened thinking they had the strength to deal? No, of course not. You don't know what's coming, and that's not to scare you. It's to make it so that you ask for the strength necessary to get through whatever comes your way. If it's something that you have to deal with terror and fear, then those are the type of strength prayers that are ultimately necessary. And while we don't want to welcome things into our lives by manifesting the desire to say, Lord, bring me the specifics of that type of strength, if you don't know what's coming your way, at the end of the day, if you ask for strength, the Lord will custom it for your walk. But that you continue to ask for that strength more so than ask for what makes you fine within the strength that you already have when it needs to be worked on and can be worked on by the divine. That's the point. So I asked the Lord back in the day, can you change my habits so that I can get in better shape? Can you make it so that I'm more consistent of a person with my eating habits and various different things? It took some time. Even when I was getting the habits to work out, I didn't have the habits to eat right. And look, maybe I didn't like the path that he made it so that I'm able to have a disciplined diet. I didn't like that path. He made it so I was allergic to a lot of stuff. Now I can't eat all the stuff I used to eat, so therefore now I am going to eat better. I don't like the path, but he made me strong enough for it. And that's because I asked. You know, it's a lot of stuff that I cannot do, that I would love to be able to do, but if I were able to do it, I wouldn't be as disciplined as I am. That doesn't help me. I want to be disciplined. I need to be disciplined. And you know, in the presence of the strength necessary to deal with heartache and people leaving your life, you know, I saw something that Tracy Edmonds wrote. You know, that's Prime's lady, that they decided they were going to go in a different direction from their relationship from here on out, and told everybody. She was posting something this morning that resonated with that very same thing. She was saying, you know, sometimes you just got to let the Lord take you on a different path than the path that you've been on. Maybe he has something better for you down this path. Yeah, you comfortable on the path you've been on, but that ain't the one you need to be on no more. And that's what I was struggling with. Like, yo, I don't want to let go of what it is I've been dealing with. I don't want to let go of my apartment. I don't want to let go of these shares. I don't want to let go of my friend Kay, even though she's clearly with the wisdom to understand that she wants to go away for whatever strength the Lord gave her, she don't need me for that. And I still think I need her for something that she did not wired or not written in her story to do for me. No, you need to catch up to the strength necessary to be able to live with the reality that the Lord has created for that person in your life. If he wanted her to be consistent, she'd be consistent in my life. Otherwise, I need to ask for the strength so that I can do what it is that I need to do without her. Now, I can keep on asking the Lord to make her come around, but he already wrote in her story what it is she's going to do. She's already living the blessings without me. So it's like, what do I do to live without her? Well, get the strength necessary. Obviously, it's something that's attacking the fact that you're not as strong, that's making you want something that's not meant for you, or that's not meant for you right now. And maybe it's the very essence of you being that way that keeps her away. Maybe you need to ask for something that you think you don't need so that you can get what it is that you otherwise do need. And then from there, you can be who you need to be okay. I'm telling you, the strength is the only thing I truly needed to be asking for. And that's exactly what the Holy Spirit was telling me pretty much the whole time. Like, he'll listen to me talk, and I can ask him to do this, that, and the third. But the only thing that was going to get me by was the strength necessary to deal with the reality of what it is he's chosen. That's the only thing that was going to get me by. You can force a square into a circle if you want to. It's not going to fit. You can try. You can put yourself in a position to say, I'm not giving up without a fight. That's cool, but that also requires strength for you. Whether it goes your way or not, you're going to need that strength. And I can sit up here and say, well, she's not doing what she's supposed to do, so you can hurl all types of, Lord, please get her right so she do what I need her to do so she can stop hurting me. Or you could hurl curses in her direction and say, Lord, she done treated me bad, get her back, and all this other crap. None of that is going to get you by with what it is that he's already said that he's going to do in your life before you even born. This person going to be here for this amount of time, and then that's it. Now, you can either choose to live with that, resist that, all to no avail. All that's going to do is make you feel worse, be worse, and if you happen to get what it is that's not meant for you, feel worse, etc. You need strength so that you can walk away from what it is that's walking away from you, so that you can walk toward what it is that would otherwise welcome you. And then you will know by the grace of that God that you serve that you never needed anything. You never needed anything other than that strength from him in regards to this life you were in. That's all you ever needed. Everything else was written. You just needed to be able to have the requisite amount of strength for your disposition to be able to welcome and say goodbye and all the various different things that are coming your way. So that's what I'm telling myself, and I'm telling all of y'all. When the Lord puts it in my heart to ask for strength, I need to welcome that to be the only prayer necessary for the circumstance I'm praying for. Strength, that's it. Everything else, wait. Everything else may not be best for me. Everything else may not be destiny. It's strength, that's it. The moral of the story is I needed strength for the situations that I've been going through. And so that's what I'm telling all of you. Ask for strength for what's here, for what you've dealt with, for what's coming, for what you need to live with and without. For the discipline to deal with, for the fact that you may not have discipline, and all of that. Strength. You may not be able to get what you need. You may not be able to get what you want. There may not be what you want on the earth at this time. Maybe what you need to be strong is the only thing that may be missing, unfortunately, in some cases. Maybe you don't get to be stronger as you see it in your definition. But guess what? You ask for the strength to be able to live in a weak space, to live in an insecure space, to live in an embarrassed state, or whatever it is that you need to deal with. That strength is strength in and of itself. Maybe I'll never be able to lift 400 pounds off my chest, but to be able to live with the fact that I can only bench press 360 for the rest of my life may be the strength necessary to live. It's strength that you're asking for, and it don't come in only one form. Strength to be able to let things go, strength to be able to live with, to be able to welcome in things that you would otherwise deny. People live in denial about various different things. They can't accept certain truths. They are living in spaces where people are lying to them. You don't know what the hell's going on. You may be confused. To be able to live in those spaces and keep your energy straight, to be able to welcome what it is that you need to welcome into your life so that you're not in that denial space. That, my friends, is strength in and of itself. People have been doing all kinds of stuff, generational curses weighing you down, people dying left and right, people defecting left and right, snitching on you. Maybe you've been given a lot of time. Now you got to live in the worst possible conditions. Maybe it's meant for you to suffer the worst of consequences in that space. While you go through what it is you go through, you ask for the word of strength upon your life so that you can be accustomed for what it is that your resistance may be. Whatever it may be. If you need to quit this or start that, do this, have inconsistency when you're used to being consistent, all these different things. Strength, 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 strength. That's the number one thing that the Holy Spirit's been putting in my heart. Strength to do what needs to be done. Strength to come back to prayer when you haven't seen it work yet. Strength to maybe not be able to do various different things that you used to being able to do. Like having a quiet place to pray. Maybe you don't have a quiet place to pray no more. Maybe you got to live around 1 million people now. Maybe y'all stuck in the worst of consequences. Maybe something bad's coming. You ain't got no way around it. Now you got to just suffer what come with that. Strength. Prayer for strength. That's it. Because that's the only thing that's going to really get us by. Man, I get what you want. World ain't a fair place. People don't act the way they're supposed to act all the time for you to get your fair shake. Maybe you do have to go through tediousness. Maybe you got to start all over again, only to find yourself watching it tear down and start all over again. That requires strength to be able to do that without losing it. Maybe you lose it. You need strength to be able to gain it back. These are things that you cannot necessarily anticipate. But you can ask the Lord for the strength for your walk or your life, so that if it is meant for me to do something 765 times, only for that 777th time, 76th time rather, it has just gone away forever, and now I don't see the remnants of what it is that I've been doing all this time. Sometimes that's really somebody's life. You pour 75 years of your life into something that disappears in a matter of 5 minutes. All of what you worked for all your life gone. You think somebody ain't had that happen to them? The only thing the enemy wanted them to do is feel like their life was wasted. Man, shoot. The only thing they really needed was the strength to be able to survive that, or get through that, or endure that. That's it. And no, it's not easy for me to see what they've gone through. I can't relate to that. But I can promise you, if that's my fate, the only thing I really need is strength. Not that he make it so that everything I did comes back. Not that he do something that doesn't need to be done so that I can feel better. Not that he go off and curse whoever did this to me 768 times worse than what they did to me, and none of that. Just the strength. Just the strength. That's it. The spiritual fortitude, mental, physical fortitude to be able to go through what you are accustomed to have to go through. You want to be accustomed for it. Strength. That's it. Maybe you've already been married 5 times and you're hopeful that this marriage works out. Hopefully it does for you, but if it don't, you need the strength to be able to get through that 6th marriage, friend. You need the strength. If she cheated on you again and you took her back, now you need to be able to get away from this person. Well, guess what? It's going to take strength to do that. You can't wait for her to change. Maybe it ain't meant for her to change. Maybe it's meant for you to change. And that strength is going to give you that ability to do that. That's what I'm here to say, man. I'm sitting up here asking for the Lord to custom things for me, asking him for gifts of a divine nature of his choosing that I may not have the strength to endure. Maybe waiting for people to come around that may not have been able to. Maybe it wasn't meant for them to. Maybe if they did come around, it'd be worse for me and them. Who knows? But I need the strength for what the Lord knows is for me or not for me, etc. Strength to be able to endure all that reality. For the betterment of all things and the worst of all things, for how I perceive it and vice versa, however that works, strength. Somebody had to wake up in the morning and didn't have their leg no more. They got it blown off in Gaza. Okay, they need the strength to be able to survive this now. That's the strength I'm asking for them. It's okay for me to ask for something that ain't meant for me as it pertains to strength. And I want strength for those kids that wake up who don't have their parents no more, who lost their whole family. People losing 20 members of their family in one flurry. People was all here yesterday celebrating, today they gone. Man, you need strength for that. They need strength for that. And in the best of worlds, we're all praying for them and are being a solution to them finding their strength by way of those prayers. But that ain't a perfect world. People don't notice. They don't care. They don't know this. Whatever the case may be. We need strength for the world around us that may be cruel in nature toward us. That may be too easy for us, and now we're part of the cruel nature of somebody else's life because we don't give a damn because everything's perfect for us. Strength. Maybe you need to let everything turn to dust so you can keep your integrity and not be a part of the problem. There's many of people out there who are not speaking because they're afraid of something that is not right happening to them for doing the right thing. They need the strength to be able to let the wrong consequences come to them so that they can be the right blessing for somebody else. They need to be able to find the unselfishness in them so that the world can be a better place because of their presence. If they were smart, they would ask for that because life is fleeting and your afterlife is forever, and you will definitely pay in the afterlife for what you did in this fleeting life to preserve whatever it is that you think makes so much sense. It's so responsible in the culture of godlessness that we're in, and at the end of the day, you need the strength to be able to look past that and do the right thing in the right time at that moment, because if you do it the wrong way, it's going to tumble forward to you being disgraced, and everything you're supposed to affect a positive way never takes place. And the only way you ever going to know that is if somebody came by and told you exactly what the future holds, and that's not coming. Some of y'all just need to get it right the first time. And the only way you're going to do that is if you ask for the strength to look past what it is that's normal to you, to do what it is that needs to be done, so that you don't find yourself in circumstances where you are part of the problem or basically the problem itself. Some of us just got to get it right the first time, and there's a way for that to be the case. Strength. And through that strength can come so many different things. The truth about ourselves and others, intuition, and how that ultimately plays into the decisions that we make. Reading signs and maybe not being able to, and then suddenly having it be forced upon you. Spiritual signs that come our way. Maybe you had a dream and you don't otherwise listen to dreams, but this time you really need to. All of this encompasses the strength necessary for the custom walk that you're in. So I'm here to tell all of y'all, my friends. Just because I can fathom a bunch of stuff don't mean you can. All you may hear is the word strength. You know to ask for it now. That's what you need. Get your strength up. That's what you need. You may not always get your way. They may not always do what they're supposed to. They may not always be fair. They may throw you over there. You may have to put something over there. Whatever the case may be, it's going to require your strength to get it done. It's going to require your strength to overcome. Maybe you didn't get that job. Maybe you got to live in this space again with this person again. Maybe they may be toxic again. Maybe you need to fight your way out of there. Maybe you need to stand up to that damn bully. Maybe that bully may be somebody who could really seriously damage you in more ways than one. Maybe you need the strength to just let that happen. Maybe. Strength. So you don't let them do to you what it is that should not be done. Strength. Don't let them do to others what should not be done. Strength. These are various different things that you may be called upon to suffer a little bit so that others don't have to. And you may not be that type of person that can welcome that thing into your heart. Strength. To know your purpose. To find that strength that you don't know is there requires strength to open up that part of your heart and let it in. A lot of us are indifferent to be protecting of ourselves. Maybe we are inconsistent with people because we've been hurt by somebody. Maybe you about to push away the only thing that's ever going to be really loved in your life. The only love that you really will ever know truly. Maybe the very thing that you're trying to get the furthest away from just in the name of not having the strength to do so. You need strength. That's all I'm saying to you. Some of us do the wrong thing to protect ourselves, and we don't know we're not protecting ourselves at all. We're just welcoming weakness to ourselves. We're not getting better for the hard times we're going through. We're just asking the Lord to fix our problems. He ain't fixing us in the process. You got to ask for strength to do that, to even want that. It's easy to say, oh, I got it all together and keep pushing, and then the consequences come and you're caught off guard, and then what? And what? What would you have otherwise needed? Strength. That's it. You didn't need none of that other stuff. You didn't need life to be easier for you. You just need to be able to live with the fact that it wasn't. And to move in a direction that made you stronger. That's it. That's all you needed. All this time we thought we needed money, we needed her, we needed them. We didn't need none of that. You just need the strength to be able to live without all of that. Strength. Some of us are born in situations and we can't get out of. Circumstances are so intertwined in negativity that we don't even know positivity. You need the strength to be able to welcome something in that you've never known. Strength. Maybe you want to die today. I went through that. Didn't want to be here. Times were hard. I didn't have the strength. I didn't know to even ask for it. But what did I need? Strength. Maybe people don't like you because of your skin. Maybe they don't like you because of your religion. Maybe they want to hurt you because of your religion. Maybe you need to just live with that. And that requires strength. It's hard. But it's not without the ability within you to find what it is that's necessary to deal with hard. You're going to deal with hard once that strength comes, once that strength that you're praying for and asking for and are intent on finding within yourself is found. Something that's going to allow you to take that frown, turn it upside down, so to speak. Even when circumstances aren't good and you otherwise weep because of them, you don't need to be crying. And even if you do, maybe you need the strength to allow that cry to be what it is. You don't run from that pain. You don't run from that shame. You don't run from that accountability. You don't run from that responsibility. You just handle it. Because the strength within you that you've already asked for, that you've been patient and waiting to receive, is now in place for you to use it exactly when you needed it. And that's why you ask for it now. And you wait for it, and you ask for the strength to wait for it, and you devise new questions from which to ask in regards to new ways of finding the strength that ultimately will be necessary for your life. Strength. So that's what I'm here to tell all of y'all, man. Look for your strength, find your strength, pray for your strength, pray for somebody else's strength. Maybe they're not strong enough to ask for it for themselves. BDF 44, I thank y'all for watching.